Welcome to Vegas Circle Podcast with your hosts, Paki and Chris. We are people who are passionate about business, success, and culture. And this is our platform to showcase the people in our city who are making it happen. And today, it is just that, man. We've got two guests that we're welcoming to the circle, co-founders of Game Changers Sports Academy, who are helping our student athletes maximize their potential in both school and sports. So welcome to the circle, Rice and Coach Vi.
Welcome.
Good to meet y'all. Good to see y'all in person again.
Come on,
man.
right on.
This is what I love about Vegas, man. So I actually met these brothers at a restaurant.
Yeah.
I think it was about 2 months ago now?
Mm-hmm.
2 months.
Couple months ago now.
And shout out to Jay Sean, which is friends of ours.
Yeah, that's right.
Over at Uncommons. We met you. It's Sempre, Jay Blanco.
Sempre.
But I do want to say this. This is how we met. We were observing how you were
we're going
behaving
there.
with your children.
Come on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We looked at you and your wife and how you guys were handling your kids. And I think I said something about your food, and I went into a conversation on how your children were acting and behaving. That's exactly what you were speaking.
You're going to start
language.
off getting me emotional,
Well,
man. Right off the bat. You know I play with my
That-
kids, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys, and then you had them stand up, and when they stood up and they introduced themselves to
Come
my
on.
wife and his
Appreciate
wife,
that.
Right.
I was like, y'all doing the thing.
That's it right
I
there.
I appreciate
yeah.
that, man.
Yeah,
Salute to
right.
y'all, man. We met your beautiful wives too, man. So,
Right on.
so
Thank you,
let's
man.
talk about it, man. Let's jump right into it. So, how did you guys connect to form this academy? Because it's extremely hard to be able to do. But how did you guys actually connect and make this happen?
Well,
On the show, yeah,
well,
yeah.
this is kind of well, we have history before all
Right.
this.
Okay.
Coach Va and myself, our children ran track. They
Mm-hmm.
ran track, so we saw each other in familiar areas, and we were just always polite, and he was always polite, and our kids they were all competing against each other,
Right.
really.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we formed a friendship. Really, we just
So it
formed
started,
a friendship by flying in different areas and at different competitions, track meets and stuff, and then we just kind of became a little bit of family.
Yeah.
And then with Game Changers, I have a partner that's not here tonight. Is Mel Spicer.
Okay. Shout out to Mel, man. Heard great things about him. Yeah.
Good man,
Right
good
on.
man. Got all the right stuff, And actually, how I met that gentleman is, I'm an Air Force brat, so I look for structure. I look for structure in my life, and I was looking for a team for my son to play on, and I was scouting around Las Vegas. You know how we do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And not them, and I ran into Mel, and I watched how it was organized and in place, and everything, and then he was holding those kids accountable, and I was like, yeah, we can do this. That's how Mel and myself met.
That's awesome.
And we started that relationship. Then I ended up coaching with him. He pulled me out there, start coaching with him as well. And I had in my mind, I had always had an ideal of, being a former athlete myself and working with kids. I'm a social worker, so I've worked with kids all my life, and been in especially at-risk kids. And so being in that format, when I got to Mel, I was like, you know what, we could probably do some things a little bit different with our kids, because these guys were into high performance training, okay? And I just trained as an athlete myself, but my kids, these guys were doing different stuff when I met Mel. And then we started talking about the possibilities of doing a few things different, maybe coming together and creating a gym and a training facility. And we entered into those conversations in 2016. 2016 is when we started Game Changers.
When you actually launched. Like, that's actually when you
That's
launched.
when we launched, yeah. So we've been in business 9, and then from the school standpoint, 7.
Yo,
And it's
congratulations,
2016.
because that's hard to do.
Yeah.
That's very hard to do.
You know what? He had already had a platform that was in place as well. So Mel had already had some experience in doing this. Okay. And so when we got together and we started kind of talking about it, and so we said, let's form a bond. And it was actually 4 of us. It was Manus Edwards, it was Mel Spicer, and Lamont Hicks. And they are the originals that came in, okay? Now, we knew about this guy across town because he was doing things, and his kids were phenomenal. And as we got to a point where we decided we were going to pivot and move into a direction with not just training but education, that's when we kind of started reaching out to this guy, trying to put our team together. And that's how the team started. And then we took it from there, and we bootstrapped.
Yeah.
This is all bootstrapped. We
Yep.
didn't. This was coming in with sacrifice and heart and blood, sweat, and tears. When we moved from one facility to another, we did it. We moved into it. We didn't have to. We didn't call people to put us in. We put our own hearts into it and stuff like that.
So that foundation is solid.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
solid.
solid.
Yeah.
And built from the standpoint of this. Our kids were all athletes, and we were trying to figure out how can we maximize this gym as well. Okay. And so what we did is we took our children and we just said, you know what, let's try. Maybe we can cut all the fluff out and we can create the training and create a learning environment for these kids. And so we can maximize their potential because they all wanted to be elite athletes.
Got it. Okay.
And in that process, that's how it was formed. That it formed with our own kids. You know, I want to mention this is that I remember coming home and talking to my wife. My children were at Faith Lutheran, and I was talking about taking my son, the baby of the family too, and bringing them to Game Changers and going through this process. So my wife looked at me like I was crazy. She looked at it, and I had to sit her down and we had to really talk about it and pray about it. But what developed out of that process and Devon coming to our school was more than we could imagine. And when the school launched, this gentleman here has been right in the middle of it. Awesome. And he brings his own story. I mean, he did the homeschool whole process himself with his children. And then kind of, so when he folded into it, it was natural. It was very natural.
Yeah. So, yeah, kind of like layer into that. So, obviously one thing from being like developing athletes, right? Mm-hmm. That's obviously it's very challenging. But once you layer in education, it brings a whole different piece to it, right? Now you bring up legislative issue, government enforcement, et cetera. I'm sure there's a lot of legal loopholes you have to jump through to even be able to get qualification to educate people, right? I'm assuming but what kind of dynamic did you bring into that mix? Because, obviously you jump into it, but that to me seems like a very much harder thing to kind of implement because a lot more regulation with schooling, I would assume. So how did you kind of navigate from bring what they already had in place to also bring what you wanted to the mix, to bring the education piece to it?
Well, the biggest take when it comes to the education side, we know that there's always a disconnect sometimes with these student athletes where they get praise on the accolades of their performance. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times if their focus is in education, it gets overlooked or they put it to the side because nobody wants to give them any praise on it.
That's a great
They just say, hey, look, so for us, when we started to deal with athletes and bringing the education piece in there, it was more so saying, okay, look, you can go get tutoring. You can go get some extra help. But can we create an environment that challenges you academically? So once we sat down and we said, okay, look, the first thing we want to do is let's just limit the ratios. Let's get to a point to where we can have these students in a classroom where they cannot be identified as an individual. They can know who they are because we know as they go up the ladder, your social security number. You get to, I had a conversation earlier. You're just there. Yeah. So we sat down and we said, let's look at this way and see if we can find an environment that's going to work. We started off thinking we were going to probably have 12 to 20 kids. First year we morphed into 40. Then we went to 60, then we went to 80, went to 120. Then we got to a point of let's slow it down a little bit. But our original ratio was 12 to 1, was our student teacher ratio we wanted to have.
And that's still very good. Yeah,
it is. And now we're at 15 to 1, which we won't exceed that. But back to your question on how we got to that point, legislative and getting into those areas, it wasn't our lane, it wasn't our scope. Our hat goes off to any educator. Yeah. We look at it. One thing we can't pick when it comes to these kids is where they come from.
Yep.
And we don't know what kind of household they're going home to or what kind of rules and standards are already set in place. With a lot of us having a lot of similarities, with military backgrounds or having parents that raised them a certain way. I mean, I grew up in a household, single mom. My dad was, distant but still in my life, but I grew up with a lot of strict rules around me, like, hey, what you don't do, and don't bring home, So when we started to implement a lot of those rules in our school, we started to seek educators the same way that had standards. Hey, you really want to educate a kid. Being a teacher is one thing. You could teach, but you're going to educate. I feel like it's just a separation behind it. Yeah. So we started to talk about that, and we sat down and said, okay, what are going to be our core principles? So we ended up creating a structure that was going to be put in place where we can adopt a lot of platforms. So before we got into a point of like, this is our own standard, we used a lot of different platforms, a lot of online programs with our own educators. And that's pretty much kind of how it started. But we created a classroom environment that wasn't set to where it's like, you're going to do your own thing. So our teachers actually teach a direct instruction, even though a lot of our kids are on online platforms. So if a student is
in a class, but they're that same foundation.
Brick and mortar. So it's still treated like a true brick and mortar. You show up, you're in class. You start off, if we're both sixth graders, and I might be in a more, he may be in a more advanced English class, I might be in a more advanced math class. But when we go into direct instruction, we get a sixth grade instruction, but then once we get on our own platforms, they may be at a different curriculum level based upon where we test at. So that's how we put our structure in place, so no kid was able to, you didn't fall into like what happens in traditional school settings. You're going to get taught what you're taught. It's kind of like how it is with food. Eat what you eat. Get what you get. Don't throw a fit, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you better eat what's on your plate, right?
Yeah. I need to teach my kids that.
Right. You know what I mean?
That's
Right.
real.
So that's the thing. It's kind of like, I
Yeah.
don't know about, So with our kids at the time, it was like, all right, their learning environments, everybody learns a little bit different. And we talk about this all the time when we're teaching instruction. So we do our best to have our coaches, and we've coined a phrase where a lot of these coaches will go up, and I call them all high-performance coaches. Now, I know getting a chance to become a high-performance coach does require some curriculum to a certain extent, but it's more so, how are you going to have that student-athlete get to a highest level they can perform at? Not just athletically, but mentally. So a lot of our install was, how do we get a kid to walk in the classroom and still be a competitor? They may learn differently, so if you got an instructor up there teaching you, can I learn something from them? Can I get some tools that I can put in my toolbox that I know that I can go ahead and apply this when I get on my own online platform? Did my instructor just teach me some things that can help me deal with it? So that's kind of what we ended up creating, was something a little bit more, it's a little different than your traditional. Yes, it's a brick and mortar. Yes, they sit in a classroom. Yes, they start off with some direct instruction. And the teachers are challenged in the sense of, yes, I may be in a lower sixth grade math than, my peer is in the same class, but that instruction that's been taught to me has been enough to, they've educated me enough to where now when I go apply this back to my own platform, can I still excel up? So we've had a lot of success without going into deep stories, but we've had some success where we've had some students when we had a few of our girls that we've allowed to stay through high school that have graduated high school in 3 years because of the platform that they've been on, where they started to learn a certain way. And guess what? They're still athletes. So to be able to apply that and take that back to their playing fields or their prospective sports, we've had some pretty good success. I mean, we've had some kids come in with speech impediments and quote unquote learning disabilities, but then when they get into this environment and they're like, okay, I know that I'm going to get direct instruction from my teacher, but now I get a chance to get on my own platform. Then they're on their own curriculum platform and they're like, all right, I'm comfortable in my own space right here.
Confidence.
Yeah.
And that's grade.
Yeah. So that's so I hope I answered your question, but as far as like, the other things of like legislative and kind of how all that moves, we basically moved into a space of we want to offer something that works for everybody. And then so our environment with our kids, when they're on these platforms, it allows them to excel. And the best way I can explain it is our hockey program. Hockey came into Vegas as a new sport.
Because of the Golden Knights and everybody. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So for us, it was a space, work with athletes wasn't foreign. But the education piece that a lot of these students that came into Vegas that may have moved from the East Coast and they got brought up on the ice, or they moved from the Midwest and they got brought up on the ice. Well, a lot of these kids came in with their own curriculums. So for us, it was a little bit of a challenge in the beginning where we're like, okay, well, let's understand what platform you're on, but our teachers understand education. And they're all accredited teachers. So they understand education, but now they got a kid that comes in with the program that was offered. It's probably a national accredited program, and all the programs that they're on are all nationally accredited. Yeah. But our teachers get a chance to sit down and go, okay, let me understand. Okay, now let me hold you accountable to this level. So since then, we found some others that work best for us, and majority of our students are on the same platforms now, but that's how it started 7 years ago. And we've had a lot of success, and we've averaged, roughly about a 3.2 GPA across the board. Because if our student athletes don't maintain a 3.0, they can't go train. So we deal with
That's what I was going to ask you.
That's not negotiable either.
and it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So
We have people that come in. Every child that comes through the program goes through an interview process. They'll take a tour first. They'll come and do a tour, because they need to understand exactly what's going on, what they're getting into, and then we do an interview, and that interview is an hour long. So for the first 40 minutes of that interview, I'm talking about academics.
You ain't even talking about what they're focused on as far as sports or anything like that.
I let parents know right away, because they would walk into our facility and see this. We had a pretty beautiful gym, we had some stuff in place, and they would walk in there, and I know the kids were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be working out, I'm gonna be running around doing all my stuff. And I set them down. I was like, hey, this is a 30,000 square foot building. I said, and upstairs we have some classrooms. It's about 3,000 square feet. That's the most important piece in this building. I said, that's the difference between being good and great. I said, we can get you bigger, stronger, faster. We can do that. These guys can do that with their eyes closed. I said, but you don't open those doors to become elite unless you have grades. I said 3.0 and above. I know the public system says 2.0. Nobody is giving you a scholarship with no 2.0. That's not going to happen anymore. 3.0 and above is where. So when we come in there and I look at the parents, I usually have one sitting on the parents sitting on one side and the young man sitting on the other side. And I said, I don't negotiate with kids. I don't negotiate with parents. I said, here are our standards right here. This is what you have to meet. So make sure you understand you want to do this before you come in here. I said, because we won't lower it for you. We won't lower the standard. You'll have to meet the standard. And most of the kids are like, I'm ready to do it. I'm like, okay.
You know what's so great? Not to cut you out. I think about Dean Smith. Right? Remember Dean Smith?
Oh,
He
yeah.
was doing that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that with Jordan and all the players that came through. They all respected him. They all went back to school to get their degree, even though they went to the league or whatever it is. And I'm glad you're doing that, because these kids are making a ridiculous amount of money compared to what they're doing if they end up going to that professional level. But you're setting the foundation, and that's powerful.
Well, what I tell the parents is, if you are betting on your kid to come into the program to be a professional athlete, I said, that's bad math.
That's bad math.
That's
Yeah,
bad
numbers ain't
math.
working. Yeah.
That's bad math.
That's
I'm just telling you right now.
That's true.
The percentages and the statistics are real. Okay, and
I think football's the only thing is a little bit better, right?
Hey, less than 2% of the kids going out there competing are going to get a Division I scholarship, and less than 1% will become a professional athlete. So if you betting on those, that is bad math.
So
I said,
learn.
What we talk about, and we stress this, they come in because they have a transcript. I go through their transcript and everything. I spend a lot of time on the grades. But what I tell them repeatedly, over and over, this transcript is life insurance. In this building, we call a transcript life insurance. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, because this transcript right here is going to give you the ability to have a decent life, because it's bad math out there. Now, we're not trying to crush your dream. We want you to go for it. I want you to go and try to pursue all the goals you can. But you better have insurance, because every athlete has an expiration date on them. I'm one of them. I thought I was invincible. I thought I could play forever. That didn't happen. And so when you put the statistics on top of that, then you really got some issues.
Yeah, that's straight up
So
real.
we just try to, hey, this is what we're going. Our goal mission statement is very simple. And so we are going to make your student a better athlete and your athlete a better student.
Love that. Yeah.
We're going to roll it down at the bottom, and then we're going to sow seeds into you, because we're going to mentor you, and we're going to make sure you are a good individual. Character, integrity, discipline. That's all we do. But we sow seeds every day. So when these parents, when we're done, I mean, we become tearful in some of these interviews because they understand that this is not just a business. This ain't a money grab here.
This is life. Yeah.
This is life.
Yeah,
and
I
our
love
own children have partaken. Their own children have gone through this process. So I let them know, I'm going to talk to you like they're one of my boys.
Yeah.
And we haven't had one. And then when they go out and they meet Coach Va and Coach Mel, they different. Because with our program, I'm going to say this, and I said I wouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. our program gets mimicked. People are trying to do what we do. Okay, you can build a better building, you can do all that stuff, but you can't build a better team. See, the people that I have surrounding me, they're the best. They're the best in there, not just in what their craft is, but in their heart. So you get to know this guy, and you get to know Coach Mel. And Coach Mel is a former SEAL. He's a former Navy SEAL. He's different.
I'm already knowing that he's different. Navy SEAL.
But I'm gonna tell you what, I love him.
Yeah,
I love this guy right here. It's real. And this kind of feeling and how we talk, it's how we talk in front of the kids. We let these kids know, hey, you got to be able to understand and be vulnerable. You got to be vulnerable if you want, you want to surround yourself with good people. Well, you got to be vulnerable, and you got to be a good person. You got to be a person of integrity. You will attract good people when you have integrity. And when you don't have integrity, you're going to bring the other side in. I said, but they never get together. They never hang out together. When you have good integrity, they don't want you in the party. You mess up the vibe.
The energy's off.
Yeah. I remember being that guy. I was the guy that I didn't drink or do anything. They didn't really want to hang out. And my boys. It was like, Rice, you ain't doing anything. No, I can't. But that's the short of who we are and what we do from our mission statement. We have these kids chase excellence in the classroom and on the field.
Man, that's a great point.
What's the day? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're even seeing it now. Like even just become a professional athlete, or even to go through college as an athlete, or even high school as an athlete, you do need to be rounded about. Like it's not just a matter of pure athleticism anymore.
Right,
the game's getting more challenging. Things are getting more complex. It's more intellectual. Like everything, I see some of these playbooks. I'm like, how the hell you remember that fast? Like things are getting a lot more challenging from an intellectual standpoint. So it makes perfect sense. But when you're trying to prioritize how you're structuring your program, how much of kids go to school, what is it, 7 hours a day now? Like, how do you structure how much of that 7 hours is athletic training? How much is, education?
Well, I'm glad you said that because we have a few new students that just started, and
don't you do it?
They're being challenged right now because they've never been in a structured environment like this, where the demand is so high for them. And we tell them, we say, as Rice mentioned, we say, look, this is not going to be hard. After he has his meetings with them, we sit down with them. And I say, look, this is challenging. This school is not hard at all, but it's challenging because mom and daddy still expect you to go home and be that son or that daughter that they raised. We're an extension of that. So we're going to challenge you to be the best you could be here. We don't get by, we get better. So we got a saying, we say, we get better what? Every day. You walk in there, we ask them, they say, we get better what? Every day. Well, now I got a lot of isms I throw at them. I'm like, I'll tell you one I always say. I was like, I'm going to explain something to you. I said, which play do you want? Oh, I want to, to play. Oh, no. What play do you want? I was like, you just want to play. See, all this preparation is for an opportunity. And opportunities don't go away. They just go to somebody else. They're not going to go away. Somebody else going to get it. And I ask them, what's your favorite number? Oh, my favorite number is 3. Okay. Somebody going to be wearing number 3. If you don't, you know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? Right. And it's going to have their name on the back, not yours. Yep. So we talk about those things, when it comes to how we balance it, we say, just because you took that, you got off the playing field or you've been training and now you're back in the classroom, you still competing for an opportunity. You're still challenging yourself to be better yourself in that class. So our balance, we call them block schedules. So the way it works is, let's say I'll use the example of we were both baseball players and you both were basketball players. We call them training blocks. So we call them, so every 3 weeks we have them, they switch on a training block. So the first training block for the first 3 weeks, you and I may be in class in the morning from 8 a.m. to 11:30. Okay, Chris and Rice, you guys are in class during that time. You guys are in the classroom during that same time. And then at 11:30, we all have lunch. The whole school comes together, and then our blocks change. So now we're in class, and you guys are training from 12 o'clock to 3:30. So that's how the blocks change. So they basically, and then during that time, we have their online curriculum. So any work that isn't done, with our Ingenuity platform that we use, everybody has real time. So I think a lot of the schools in town use Infinite Campus, but the program that we use, all the parents, everybody has real time on their student. So if they're in the blue, they're ahead. If they're in the green, they're on track. If they're in the red, they're behind.
Yeah, bro.
So if all of a sudden you and I were, you guys were in class and now you're going to go train in the afternoon, if all of a sudden Rice is behind, we get that radio, send Rice to the class.
Dang. All right. That's,
So
that's
Rice
motivating.
can't, right. So now, right, yeah. So now he can't, now all of a sudden I'm looking like, we're like, Rice, where you at, man? What's going on?
You're getting held accountable.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
getting held accountable by your peers.
By your peers.
Peers, and some people are like, well, you don't want to embarrass. No, it's not about embarrassing. You just, accountability is accountability. No
That's a
matter how you
motivator,
look
especially for
at it.
athletes.
That's right.
This is
That's right.
serious, especially because what's the age? Is it six to eighth grade?
Six.
Is where you're
Six,
special?
6 to 9th pretty much, but it's
Okay.
predominantly 6 to 8. That's our
See,
special.
what's
Yeah.
powerful about that is like that's that too cool. You're trying to
Oh,
figure
yeah.
yourself out. So I
Mhm.
see
Like
y'all's
perfect
business
time.
is the,
Right.
it's the
Yeah.
best time to
Oh,
be
yeah.
able to create
You
that
can-
foundation the right way.
It's beautiful because they sponges.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You get them and you can actually change some of the behaviors. You can see them mold and change. We watch kids just shapeshift.
Mhm.
It is, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, especially when you start to really see them mature, and not just physically, but mentally, when they start
Yeah.
talking to you different and accepting a challenge different
Mm-hmm.
or adversity, because adversity is everybody gonna
Oh, yeah.
have it. And our kids, they handle it. They handle adversity different because we teach it different.
Mm-hmm.
We let them know this is a normal part of being an athlete and being a person. You're gonna go through adversity in the rest of your life. When I talked about losing my mom and my pops, man, that's adversity.
Mhm.
So I could have just curled up. And you know how you feel about your parents. But I know my parents wanted me to be more than that. They didn't want me to curl up. I had other things that were out there. That's what we teach the kids. We keep it raw. We don't shield it. We don't go too far, but we go far enough so they understand that, hey, they care about me. They care about me. We pick up on those little nuances that kids go through a regular school that a lot of teachers miss because there's so many kids.
Right.
But we can spot a kid like he ain't in the right shoes today.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
And then we're able to address it. That mental health, we call it mental strength. That's what we call it in our program.
I've never heard it
Mental
said it
strength.
that way before.
It was he made the word up. He got, like he said, he had a lot of isms.
Mental
strength,
Yeah.
and that's what we do in our kids. Our kid that just got in our program. And we won't say his name or anything. But how did he respond to you when he told you? He said he got better. He thought he felt like he got better mentally.
Yeah.
Because he got challenged. He was just getting in there, and he's a fantastic kid. Well, I'm so excited for this kid. And he's just he's sixth grade. It's sixth grade.
You know what? Not even to cut you. I know I cut a lot of people off.
No,
I
no,
apologize,
go
but I'm
ahead.
just thinking to myself, like, because you're bored in class. Like regular education, a lot of times y'all figured this riddle out of how to keep people with the block schedules and things like that. Because a lot of times you're bored out of your mind.
Yeah, break it up a little bit. Get some excitement in it.
Right.
You're figuring this out. Like I remember when I first met y'all at the restaurant, I said, "Wait a minute, what are y'all doing?" Remember, I was like,
I know.
"Stop!"
Right.
I said, "Slow down." Like, what are y'all doing? Because I had never heard this before.
Yeah.
What you is? I know you said people are still an idea, of course, because you guys got. But I'm trying to ask this the right way. You guys figured the riddle that maybe Faith Lutheran. I'm just going to say the names: Faith Lutheran, Bishop Gorman. They don't even do this.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, how do you get it approved to be able to like do it? You know what I'm saying?
That's the
Like
mission.
to put
Right.
the okay.
That's the
That's
mission
yes.
right now.
because I'm like, how is this
Right.
possible? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
'Cause
We
it's
on that
powerful.
journey right now.
Yeah.
We want to
Okay.
be able, if people understood.
And if I'm stepping over stuff, I'm not
No,
trying to.
no,
You know what
no.
I'm saying? So
No,
yeah.
our first two classes, we had at least 24 Division I scholarships that came through ours. There's some kids that just came home from the Little World Series. They were students in our program.
Oh, what a great feeling.
Yeah,
That's
These
pretty cool.
kids, we got kids. Our girls they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Our girls, you go ahead and run them down on our girls because our girls are just.
Well, even with with the environment, even though our population have been more boys, but our girls, they ended up setting what we say, set the tone. But it's like, and I'll backtrack a little bit on like some of the isms. So one of I'll say is, hard work's not punishment, it's payment. So when we hold them to that, it's the same
I'm
thing.
gonna need a
back
book
to
of
your,
all these isms.
Okay,
I know.
right on.
We already copyright
Hey,
everything.
come on. Well, I patent quite a few
Yeah,
already,
that's
so just
powerful,
let y'all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
So,
that's solid.
well, I have,
Solid.
but look, I do want to say this, Chris. I'm gonna say this. When you ask that question about how do we deal with the school side, that's the thing. You just mentioned it, Paki, where it's like they get bored or you're in the same redundant cycle. No day is the same. I mean, every day is completely different. Now, there are some things they do repetitive of with some of their training, and we have to tell them they got to draw back in. And I'll break down some of those examples later. But when we talk about hard work's not punishment is payment, same thing. So when we walk into a classroom, we see a kid drifting off, maybe they're, and we're like, I know you didn't walk in here to decide not to work hard today. You went out there, you worked out in your training today, and you was trying to be the best. Right.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But now you don't want to work hard. Okay. So right. So we keep
those
it,
buttons. I already know when
we
you
keep
play
it in a
with it.
mental state of like,
Yeah.
and then they start to compete. So when he talked about those kids getting these scholarships that are playing Division I sports now, our first year, we had a lot of alphas and a lot of kids that had came in. And we would say, if we really looked at it, it was probably maybe 2 to 3 that you would go, oh, that kid's got something.
That's him. Yeah.
But 12 came out of that. And a lot of them ended up becoming early enrollees. We had a kid that came in, and we won't say any names, but or give it up on him. We looked at his behavioral report, and we're not a behavioral school. But the behavioral report was more on, like we talked about, some kids get a little restless.
Mm-hmm.
You got 15 bathroom breaks. Oh, you want to be the kid that keeps dropping
We
his
got the
pencil.
loophole. You
You know
always
what I
got
mean?
the
Right,
loophole.
yeah, right. So it's like we're looking at the writer, we're like, all right, he's going on. Like, well, what are you going to say it is? Tell me your diagnosis. Oh, what does he have? Okay, maybe the environment isn't correct. Gets into this environment, had a little bit of a speech impediment, had a couple things going on. Fast forward ahead, becomes an early enrollee at a prestigious university right now, playing and competing and doing very, very well. But if we just went off of the traditional, well, he got into an environment where it was like, you know what? I think what really made it different for him was my classes don't have anything to do with your classes. My instruction is the same in the class, but once I get on my platform, I have this low teacher-student ratio, so I'm getting the assistance that I really need. And we have, tutoring and things like that where students have to come, or they come early, or they come, stay after. So we have that offered as well. But once he got into a pattern, they're like, this is working for me. He, next thing you know, it was the coolest thing when he sent us the video. He sent a video talking about the school, what it's done for him and all that. We're sitting there listening, going, when he walked in this door,
Oh,
we're like, oh, man, watch him.
he might have to walk out.
Yeah, watch it. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it turned into like, oh, wow. So those are the things where, and then back to our girls, we've had some girls that have come in that, at the same time, we know that middle school is you're trying to discover, find yourself. Am I with the cool kids? Am I over here with this group, that group? We break all that down. We all wear regular uniforms that are like this. Our first year, we wore the polos and the khakis for school. And then after COVID, we stopped the changing. So they actually get 5 uniforms that look very similar, different, kind of cool, they get their sweatsuits, all the stuff to wear. But everybody wears the same thing. So now it's not, you're not going to come to school with your J's, then go put your slides on, put your Crocs on, and throw my Louis belt, and who can I impress? No.
Everybody's the same.
Yeah, everybody's the
Cuts all
same.
that out.
Right,
Yep.
cuts all that out. And when you show up, we've been collecting cell phones for going on 7 years. We've
You
been
just
doing that
read-
from the
I was going
beginning.
to ask you, how does that work?
Oh, they walk in, well, the parents are the worst, but they get it, they know now. But originally, oh my goodness.
So as soon as you come into class,
When
don't
you
have
get
it.
to
As soon as
school,
you come into the school,
you walk in the building,
you put your phone away, and we have a cart that has your number on it, and you put your phone in it, and that's it. And
so you don't get that till you check
to
out
the
the
end
to the end of the day.
And
Right.
parents, when we first did it, parents were like, "Oh, we're not really feeling that because
Just
what if this
nerve,
happens?"
emergency,
And I
yeah,
said, "We
yeah.
got enough phones in this building to call you if something's going wrong."
Y'all must be listening to our conversations.
Hey,
Because I've been literally talking about that.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you
yeah.
what, that social media and these phones, yes, there's some good things that happen because it brings you current stuff,
Right.
real quick stuff,
Yep.
but the damage it does to your kids is incredible. Because when we get these kids, because it was like taking them off a drug, really. When we put them phones away, them kids didn't know how to act at first, and then now it's nothing.
I mean, I'm dealing with that problem at home right now.
Talk about this. You're talking about a lot of stuff. Like we noticed it when we block our kids from all of that Monday through Friday, and they get it back on Friday.
Yeah,
they're completely different people.
yeah.
As soon as they get this, you can't even talk to them.
They're gone the whole weekend.
Right. So you're right. You got to get the focus. But going back to what you were saying about social media and technology, I mean, if you look at all the top CEOs of the world, none of their kids are allowed to use their platform
because they
none
know
of them.
They
They
made the money already. They know exactly. It's what they do. But as parents and educators and people that are mentoring and people trying to move this thing, well, we just use common sense. And it was common sense. It's like, hey, when they come in here with these phones, we're gonna have them put these phones away. Well, we're gonna get pushback, Rice. They're gonna push back. Let them push back.
You got to hold your ground. We held our ground. And it says it in y'all's name. Your game changes. So it makes sense. You know what I love seriously about this is because Vegas, we always hear about we 50th, we 48th, we 49th.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is home for Chris and I, right? Like I love Vegas and I love what's happening because we're starting to do more stuff like what you guys are doing. There's not just the service industry, it's not just hospitality. There's so many creative people, right? Like that's why Chris and I built this platform to showcase this. But more and more people need to hear what y'all are doing.
Yeah, agreed. This is great.
You know, just honestly, to steal those ideas and put them in Clark County because it only uplifts all the youth.
That's right.
You know what I mean? To be honest with you. You know what I mean? So
we just want to be part of it.
That's
honestly,
right.
We felt like we found something.
That's what I wanted to ask you before you even go there. Where do you envision of this? Like, what's the next step of this, right? Because you guys been 7 years technically building because you started with the gym and you brought in the academic side. So where do you envision this going?
Well, let's go. It's
hit
a bigger platform. There's a project here on the north side of town called Hilo.
Okay, that's what I saw on the website. Okay,
the Hilo project, and we're part of the center of it. So the theme of that Hilo thing is it's got an athletic theme, almost like an Olympic village. It's gonna have all the stores, all the things. It's gonna have all the stuff here.
This is in North Las Vegas.
North Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, that's my side of town. I'm gonna get my kids.
We're at in North Las Vegas for the people.
It's off in between Lake Mead, Cary, and then Rancho.
All right,
so it's right where Fiesta, and the Texas.
Yep,
they're clearing all that.
Oh, it's right there. It's gonna be the new downtown corridor. The new downtown North Las Vegas.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
We're currently on the ice rink there.
Okay.
The ice rink is there, and we have morphed into that temporarily while they're building the rest of it.
That's
gonna be great.
We're being pulled into a project that we're very fortunate and blessed. You know, even though we've gone through adversity and stuff, we are very fortunate and blessed, highly favored. Highly favored.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to let you, talk a little bit about it, but we're on our way to some big things. Thing that we want to do is make sure people understand we're not here to try to have a war or anything like that. We're here because we found some things that work and it's provided opportunities.
And you're making an impact. That's the most important. Why are we competing if you're making an impact?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing we know that, youth sports, we know it's a big business, right? And we know, it's huge. But we see where a lot of these areas have trickled down, with professional sports being, quote unquote, that's the pro level. So now you're able to be compensated. So we're seeing a lot of those levels trickle down, which are professional sports have trickled down to high school. Or college, college,
to
high school, all the way down, to even to the middle school level. So now you see these athletes that are in it for, some are still, they're striving to become a professional.
Okay.
And then there's some that are striving because, hey, I can make $1 today. And then some, you don't know their story. They might have the whole world on their back. They got a sick grandma at home. They need to change the game. And there's a lot of stories out there that we hear about all the time. But as you mentioned earlier about, our district, right? Or our state being at the bottom of the poll because we're one district. And just to go to bat for that is we're one district. We got a lot of people here now, a lot more than they've had in the past. And hopefully at some point they break up the districts and that'll change a little bit. But when you have a student athlete or even just the student itself, we always say you don't have to be the biggest, fastest, strongest. He or she that knows the most plays the most. You learn a little bit about what you're doing, and you find you put some time into it, apply yourself, you can go to the next level. So we've had some success back to like how we talked about with our girls. One of our first girls to graduate in 3 years, she didn't pursue an athletic scholarship, but her academics were so strong. She had 5 Ivy League offers coming out. She's on her way to becoming a nurse practitioner right now. You know, excelled phenomenally. But came into our program as an extreme introvert.
Didn't want to talk.
Didn't want to talk to nobody. Quiet.
Ended up our president.
Became the president of our school.
Wow. That's a great story.
Set the bar high and now she's had 4 other siblings come to our program.
Understand the power of like when you're learning and you keep entertained and you're focused and getting all the energies right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But when you bored in class and then you wonder why people pop them doing all these pills because they bored out of their mind. Yeah. So
you see that. Yeah.
That's good.
I think you got to love on them too. The time you take to mentor somebody and sow seeds into them, I think changes the whole environment.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, when they actually know that you are really concerned about them having an opportunity to move forward and change their life, when they know it's sincere coming from you, that changes everything. When these kids know.
Yeah.
You can tell your passion is different than what I got from anything I got from school.
Yeah. I'm telling you. It's
that means a lot.
Y'all killing it, man. So we got to talk just in and off at least about business and life advice, right? I'd love to hear from y'all's perspective. I mean, you guys are obviously building a school, but you're entrepreneurs too, right? You're building a business, right?
Yes.
What would you leave, just one lesson or nugget for an entrepreneur that's wanting to start out right now? Because you guys have obviously dealt with a bunch of adversities, a lot of red tape to be able to do what you guys have been able to do.
Yeah.
What would you leave? What would you leave them on one nugget?
My one nugget is understand that adversity is coming. It's part of it. You have to be very resilient at this, and you have to continue to move forward. I always tell them, hey, when you run into adversity, you got to pivot sometime.
Yeah.
But you got to keep moving forward. I say it may set you back, and all things that are done, they're done for a reason. We believe that. Things happen. It's setting you up for the next thing, and that's how we move. We set up for the next thing. So my biggest thing is just resilience and stick-to-itiveness. You got to be able to stay in the game and keep going because they're going through a lot of curves. A lot of things are going to come at you, and you have to weather it. And that's where my parents, they taught me how to weather stuff because they weathered it all their lives.
100%.
Especially in the military, you didn't think it would be like that, but just navigating that and just learning that, that's what I would say. I would say, hey, be prepared for adversity and get ready to stay in it long haul. It ain't quick. It ain't a sprint. It's a marathon.
I love you got something to share.
Well, what I would just say, I'll keep it simple. I'll say, people make the world go round like the stylistics, right? It's the people, and I think a lot of times in business, there's an order of business in certain places that you want to follow and you learn from others that came before you, but don't forget about the people, and understand that because people in those relationships are going to open doors for opportunities. So I would just say, slow down, pay attention to the people before you just, you're going to be purpose driven, but don't pass the people. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. Yeah.
Don't pass, right.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Yeah.
That's one of it. It's funny because I just thought about this today. My wife has sent me this article, and I'm wearing Tokyo, right? Because we were talking about Japan. We just came back from Japan. But they were talking about how the pressure of all that, they literally forced them to be pressure up till 6 years old. They don't handicap them on everything. They're doing all the stuff that you're doing as an adult at a young age, and they don't handicap them like we do in America where you can't walk by yourself or go to school or what. It's wild. And y'all are doing those things pressure-wise.
And I'm going to tell you, like, even to the basics of, like, uniforms. Overseas, that's all. Everybody wears uniforms to go to school. They solved that overseas a long time ago.
I'll make it better than that. Hey. Japan, they wear full suit and tie, whether you're in a taxi or anything. Full suit and tie. Full suit and tie.
That's next. No.
Hey, your appearance and how you hold yourself show up. It shows up.
Yeah,
and when kids come to our interview, they come to our interview in their little ties and stuff like that. I let them know right from the handshake, how you shake my hand. I let them know right there. you are making an impression on me, young man.
Energy,
We haven't even gotten sat down and talked yet, but you have already started off good.
Yeah.
Just how you came in, and I also had some kids come in there in hat and and shorts and stuff, and I looked at the parents, and sometimes the parents say, they'll look at me, but I address it. I say, hey, this is an interview process. So you gonna bring them in here this way? Because we're gonna teach, we're gonna learn today. We're gonna start learning today. And I say, and I'm gentle. I say it in a nice way, but I'm trying to tell them, hey, I'm gonna teach your kid how to present themselves.
That's a great mindset. That's a great point.
Nobody's doing that.
We don't argue. I ain't had nobody hit me in the jaw or nothing like that. We've all been friendly. But I'm saying it from an area not to be malicious. I care about the individual coming in here. We're going to learn today. We're going to start right now.
Because we have a hard time now because everybody's so sensitive about their kids. So
1,000.
people are very hard to take direction from other people about their own kids.
I'll say this, even with the interview process, we have all the student athletes write an essay why they want to go to school there. So they walk in and they bring the essay in, but then they have to read it.
That changes the whole game.
Okay, So now when they're reading it, just in the interview. So if Rice is doing it, it's usually a one-on-one, or if I'm doing it, or we have a few of us. It's three of us, four of us that actually do it. So we'll be in with the families, and the parents are there, and the student, and we've had some pretty impressive ones, and then we've had some that we know where I just excuse me, can you stop for a minute? And I go just like this. Okay, this isn't about who wrote the essay.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
My name don't start with an A, and it don't end with an I. You probably know how to work it better than I do.
ChatGPT,
right?
Yeah.
So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna rewrite this in your own words, and you're gonna come in here and you're gonna read this. And the reason why you're gonna read,
all the damn time.
Right? Oh yeah,
it bothers me more than anything.
But we got to do it with the these young students now, because and we know there's a lot of pluses and a lot of support, and AI does some great things for us. But a lot of these young students right now, I mean, man, they can really push through without learning anything. And then I'll speak on that when after they read it, and the reason why we have them read it.
The reason why is simple. It's what we're doing today. At some point, when that light is shining on you and it's bright, they're going to put that mic in front of you. And that is your time. And he always says, opportunities don't go away. They'll just go to somebody else. And we tell them, when your opportunity is in front of you, you better grab a hold of it and seize it. I said, because it's your time. So you got to get comfortable talking in front of people. Get comfortable just sharing, being vulnerable.
And presenting yourself the right way.
And show people that there's a humble side to this. See, we're old school. I'm real old school, and I believe in sportsmanship. Okay, I believe it sends the right synergy into the stadium. You can not run somebody's kid over, and you pick them up, and the parents are saying, "Man, he ran my kid over, but he's a good athlete. That's a good kid.
That's a good kid.
We'll beat them by 70 points. That's a good kid, though. That's important. That's important to this day. That is what it's all about. So.
I applaud what y'all doing, man. I can talk with y'all for we're gonna finish this up. But I always gotta ask everybody about food, man. I'm a big foodie. I met y'all at a restaurant, which tells you a lot. But what's y'all's favorite restaurant in Vegas?
Oh, favorite restaurant?
Ooh. It's quite a few. Okay. All right, let me think.
At least give us one.
Oh man. Well, I do like Ocean Prime.
Ocean Prime's bomb.
Ocean Prime, yeah. That's probably one that we frequented.
I don't think anybody said anything. Ocean Prime. I said Crystals, right?
Crystals, And I mean, I'm a big seafood guy, but I think they come in sometimes pretty solid and fresh with it. I know there's some that have come in town and we're like, all right,
frozen.
Frozen, so but I mean, but there's I don't want to leave anybody out, but my wife is actually a foodie.
Okay,
like for real.
Okay,
like it blows me away. I'm like, where you find this place?
Yeah.
But so we get out quite a bit frequently.
Awesome. Okay. What's yours? Yeah.
I think like Block 9's the Thai food.
Okay.
Natalia? Is it Natalia?
Oh, Natalia.
Natalia.
That's the
Natalia.
original. Yeah.
Natalia Secret
Oh, yeah.
Kitchen.
That's
Ooh,
fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
two places y'all
Yeah.
nobody said. Yeah,
Oh,
Natalia.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
big time. And then their branch off is the Block 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I didn't know that was there.
Yeah.
That's theirs.
Oh,
Yeah.
we
yeah.
were just talking about both
Yeah.
of them. Yeah, Town Center. Yeah,
So
we've
we
been there
enjoy
too.
we
yeah.
enjoy that on a regular
We got the
basis.
same palate, man, because both of those are good. Yeah, Block 9 and Ocean's Prime. Yeah.
Right on.
But let me ask you, what about dessert?
You mentioned it. I don't have a
Boy,
except this Dubai chart stuff be popping out. I got some cookies that was
Where's that
bomb at
Oh, dessert.
What
what's
is
the,
it?
Summer House.
Okay.
They got some Dubai cookies that's off the chain, man. They've been catching me. But what's yours?
I'm gonna let y'all know I'm a connoisseur
Okay.
of dessert. Okay, I don't play around with desserts. It's been a long time, but I'm play around with them. So I like butter cake.
Where's that at? I don't know.
And
Heard
the
of that.
best butter cake.
Oh, butter cake just in general.
Inside Crystal,
Butter cake in
Mashed
general.
House.
Okay, I've had that,
Okay.
but we went to another side. His wife found it. Went to another side down there where we had our meal is at Rare.
It's across the street.
Oh, right next door. Yeah.
Ooh,
So we
man.
went to Rare in San Diego, but we haven't been to the new one here in Uncommons. Yeah.
Try the butter cake.
Shout out to
It's the
Rare
best.
Society. Rare
It's just-
Society.
Hey, I put it in number 1.
Okay. I'm
Number
gonna check them out.
I'm
That's
gonna
on the
do-
list.
That's a
yeah.
strong statement. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go check them
Oh,
out.
my
Yeah, I'm
To
you know,
compete with that butter cake
Ooh.
okay, that's a powerful
Yeah.
statement.
It's powerful.
Okay.
it's
It'll
good.
change your life.
Okay.
It'll
All
change
right.
your
I'm
life.
gonna check
bud.
that out.
It might
man.
make you exit. You might be driving just
Turn right on
just
in.
turn right
Trying
on.
to stay away from the sweets, man, but that's how
trying.
Nobody
Oh, yeah.
mentioned dessert, so that's
That one is
good.
a
That was the
good-
first.
yeah.
That's the first dessert.
That's
Let's
good.
throw a
That's
curveball.
good.
Hey,
That's
no
good.
worries,
That's
no
good.
worries, yeah.
What do y'all want to finish this out on, man? What you want to leave us out on, man? Y'all brought us to church. Y'all brought us to motivational speaking,
Come on.
impact.
Started
life,
taking
man.
notes of
Y'all-
the
yeah.
isms.
Oh,
I got some-
come
I got
on,
some
man.
notes.
You know what I want to leave you with is it's all authentic.
Yeah.
This is what you see
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now
Come on.
is what you get when your kids are involved with us.
Mhm.
We don't change. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. So that passion that you hear, we're both very talkative. But it's passion. It's just we don't just like to talk.
You
but
care. That's what I get. You care.
I feel it in here, and I feel it up in here. Sometimes I start talking, I feel like I'm getting ready to get all teary eyed.
Yeah.
That's that my dad's stuff with teary eyed and stuff. But it's authentic. It's real.
Yeah.
And
You can tell.
that's what we about.
The energy in the room, to listeners out there, energy in the room, you can tell it's authentic. Like
Yeah.
there's no
I said that
BS
first time
on
I met
this.
y'all. I said instantly, I texted him immediately like, "Yo, I met these cats."
Yeah,
And-
literally.
Yeah.
It's-
real.
And
Cool
I applaud what y'all
cool
doing, man.
cat.
Support what
Thank
y'all
you.
doing, man. Y'all always
Thank
working
you
with
guys.
us
Yeah.
being able
Come
to
on.
update on what y'all are continuing to do, man. So
Okay.
we salute what y'all
Keep
doing.
you
What's
guys
the
updated,
social media
definitely.
and the sites people can reach out to you guys at?
So we're Game Changer Sports Academy
Okay.
dot com, and it also comes up under .club as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
And then we're GameChangerSports.com as well. And then on our Instagram, if you just type in Game Changer Sports,
It'll pop up,
it'll pop up. We have a few different. We also have some of our youth sports programs that are affiliated with us that'll pop up as well. So you'll start to see we're like we said, we're old school. We've been in this training world for a long time. Back in the day, it was all the confidentiality and people didn't put everything out. Now it's show me. So we do our best with our student athletes. What I'll end on is to, just let them know, hey, you're going to go out there, have a whole lot of fun. But when they line up against you, let them know I do this for real.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So that's our biggest thing is we let these athletes realize all your hard work is not punishment. So you go out there, go get paid. Go have that fun, go make them plays. And what play do you want? That one. Yeah. All you need is one opportunity. And not to bring up other athletes so much, but I always use this scenario of Odell Beckham. I said, what play do you remember? They're like, that one-hand catch. I'm like, yeah. I said, if he wasn't in the game, somebody else might have had that same opportunity, but they may not have been prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
He's 100%
Yeah,
prepared for
and he
it.
was prepared. Yeah, his preparation that nobody saw. We didn't know he did all the one-hand catches before he made that catch until they showed him.
And got hurt and came
Right,
back. Yeah.
exactly.
That's right.
So we just kind of tell them, hey, those opportunities, just be prepared for it. But that's what I'll leave you guys at,
And we appreciate
We appreciate
No,
it.
my pleasure. Y'all
Thank
always
you
y'all
guys.
like my
Yeah.
motivational
Come on,
speaking.
man. Right,
That's
hey.
what I say, man. So
Oh,
we
no,
appreciate
thank
y'all
you
hanging out
guys.
with us,
Yeah,
man.
thanks
Check
for
us out
having
at
us.
thevegascircle.com, man. So appreciate y'all.
You guys are
man.
doing
Great
it.
stuff,
Yeah,
man.
appreciate
Great
it.
stuff, man.
Right on.
Appreciate y'all,
Buck. Yep,
man.
right
That was
on.
good.